Evil never sleeps, and there's another update coming in here tonight on the mass stabbing that took place outside a hotel, or inside and outside a hotel in Marseille in France. A man has been shot and eliminated by police. He was, past tense, a Tunisian national, apparently, who was resident in France, but was, quote, known to the French police. So he was no stranger to the gendarmes. So let's get a look at this person in action before he is taken out. And after we play these few video clips, we'll go through the details of the story. And as always, leave your thoughts, comments, and opinions below, especially concerning the efficiency of the French police in quickly eliminating this threat. Can lessons be learned from other police forces in other parts of the world? And I'm thinking particularly about Ireland, the amount of trouble that they're facing with savages like this on the streets of Dublin and elsewhere. So let's look at the chap in question before he passes off or shuffles off this mortal coil, or shuffled off this mortal coil. There he is with his two blades, not one but two, and apparently members of the public are throwing things at him to keep him at bay. Pay particular attention. The guy behind him, the shopkeeper behind him, doesn't seem to be under any type of threat from this chap, but certainly at least 5 other people were. Yeah, they clocked him with something there, that's for sure. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough to stop him from doing any more damage. Now we'll look at the confrontation he had with the French police, who gave him every opportunity to drop his weapons and comply with their orders. He didn't do it. Instead, of course, he did the usual. He ran at them, shouting a phrase that may be familiar to many people before he was eliminated. So let's look at the few seconds leading up to that. That was his last chance. He lunged at the police after that, and they took the necessary steps to make sure that he wouldn't be lunging at anyone else again. And if you take note as well, this is a busy street in Marseille in France. Beautiful day. This happened earlier on this afternoon, or into the early evening time, and more information is coming in about this as I'm speaking. So as you can see, no regard whatsoever given to the people that are there. Shots were fired. Again, professionalism on the part of the police officers that eliminated the threat. Being a busy street, other people could have been hit. Thankfully, they weren't, but there were several victims just prior to this. So look at that altercation again. He's being given every opportunity to comply. But no, he decides he's going to launch himself at them, and that is the last thing that he did. And this is the aftermath as he is neutralized on the ground. Obviously, plainclothes police officers deployed there, or they were in the area at the time with their weapons, thankfully. Otherwise, things could have been an awful lot worse. So that's the background of this one in Marseille. Let's look at the details here. Police initially ordered the suspect to drop his weapons, but then shot him, said the prosecutor. So this has just been updated a few minutes ago, although the initial story came out this afternoon. That's UK, Ireland time I'm talking about. A man has been shot by police in the southern French city of Marseille after 5 people were wounded in a hotel and in a nearby street. So it started in the hotel and then it spilled into that busy street. The man was armed with 2 knives and a baton, and had ignored police warnings to drop his weapons, said Marseille Prosecutor Nicolas Bessone. He told reporters. So the man was armed. He had been evicted from the hotel for unpaid rent. Okay, unpaid rent, not an unpaid bill, unpaid rent. Does that suggest he was staying there longer term? He had been evicted for unpaid rent and attacked one person in his old room before attacking the hotel manager and his son, said the prosecutor. Witnesses describe hearing shots ring out in front of a kebab shop not far from the old port in Marseille shortly before 1 p.m. GMT on Tuesday today. Nicolas Bessone described the suspected attacker, here we go, as a Tunisian national who was legally resident in France, but known to police. I just don't get my head around this one at all. And I'm sure many people listening will feel the same way. If you do, leave a comment below. If someone is moving from one country to another and they're so-called legally resident but known to police, why on earth are they allowed to stay in said country? Why is there any tolerance whatsoever for any foreign national coming from any country? And that would include me, by the way, before people start throwing their hands up and throwing their toys out of the pram and saying that this is racist. That is not. If I went to France and became so-called legally resident and I became known to police, then I should be evicted. I should be thrown out of there also. I just don't get this at all, why these people are allowed to stay, especially when they're known to police. And now this is the result. So after being thrown out of the hotel, the man returned. Okay, so he'd been kicked out and then he went and he got himself some weapons and attacked 3 people, then going to the snack bar where he tried to stab the manager. So Major B in his bonnet, and of course this is just indiscriminate, started off targeting the people in the hotel, but then after that, it wasn't 5 people that kicked him out of the hotel. There weren't 5 owners to that hotel for unpaid rent. Customers chased him from the restaurant. A few minutes walk from the old port. Police then arrived on the scene when they opened fire with a taser. So they tased him and with weapons. One of the victims attacked at the hotel was in a critical condition, said the prosecutor. The other 2 were also seriously wounded. So let's hope and believe and pray that there's no fatalities off of the back of this, with the exception, of course, of the stabber. And he got what he wanted. He FA'd and he FO'd, if you know what I mean. So the prosecutor described the attacker as a resident of Tunisia, as we have already seen. The Interior Minister, Bruno Retailleau, was due to visit the scene of the attack later on this evening. Marseille Mayor Benoit Payan expressed his full support to all those caught up in Tuesday's attack and praised police for their quick response. Yeah, salute to them for taking out the threat. The security of women and men of Marseille is my priority, he wrote on social media. Well, there's an old saying that prevention is better than cure, and how many people are experiencing these attacks now that could have been prevented with tighter border control and simply not tolerating criminals remaining in a country that they're a guest in. Yeah, I just don't get it. So as always, leave me your thoughts, comments, and opinions below. Share this video out. Let people see what's happening all around this world, especially Europe. Europe is absolutely plagued at the minute, every corner of it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I'm Rick Munn. This is No Risk, No Reward Media. Over and out.